This is the voice of the Lord, your God, my beloved child. Listen carefully if you trust in God. Type Amen. Heaven is not late. And this time, your waiting is not being wasted. It is being woven. What you called delay was actually divine alignment, carefully preparing two hearts on two separate paths, both carrying hidden wounds and silent hopes, both marked for one another but trained in solitude. Your soulmate has not been ignoring your life, they've been prepared in secret, shaped by similar storms, tested through familiar silence, and now, the coordinates are set. And heaven says, Saturday. Prepare your heart. I've arranged something sacred. This is not a coincidence. This is not a day that appears out of nowhere. This is the moment the thread finally pulls two souls into the same room, not by effort but by timing. Not because you're ready to impress, but because you're finally ready to be real. You've stopped trying to perform. You've let go of needing to be understood. And in that surrender, heaven whispered to your soulmate, now. Now they're ready. Go. But this meeting isn't just physical. The real location isn't a place, it's a frequency. You won't find it on a map. You'll feel it in your spirit. It might be in a quiet corner of a city street. It might be through a message sent at just the right hour. It might be in a conversation that begins with something small, but your soul will recognize it like thunder. Because the location is not made of buildings. It is made of timing, surrender, and divine permission. Heaven is not sending you someone to complete you. Heaven is sending someone who will recognize you. Archangel Michael walks ahead of you now, clearing distractions. He's not shouting, he's aligning. He's not sending signs to confuse you, he's opening your spiritual eyes so that when it happens, you won't need confirmation. You'll feel it. There will be a stillness in your chest. A warmth that makes no sense. You won't have to chase it. You won't have to beg for it to stay. Because this love, this one, it's not rushed. It's not built on fear or fantasy. It's been grown in soil that only heaven touches. You've known heartbreak. You've prayed through lonely nights. You've questioned whether your love would ever find a home. But God saw every tear as a seed, and this weekend, something is blooming. It's not just romance. It's recognition. It's not just sweetness. It's safety. It's not just a person. It's a mirror, showing you that you were never too much, never too late, never forgotten. Prepare not your outfit, but your openness. Prepare not your face, but your faith. Because this encounter doesn't require a script. It only asks for truth. Don't rehearse what to say. Just be present. The location has been revealed in the spirit already. Now your soul is simply walking into what heaven has already approved. It's not far. It's not random. It's not forced. It's yours. And when you meet them, something inside will say, I know this frequency. I've waited lifetimes to feel it again. You will not rush. You will not fear. Because heaven didn't just bring them to you. Heaven brought you to yourself, so you could finally meet someone from a place of wholeness, not longing. You won't need proof. You won't need signs in the sky. Because when you see them, truly see them, your soul will not look at their face, your spirit will remember their frequency. Not a déjà vu, not a fantasy, but a deep recognition, like finding an old letter that your heart wrote before your body was born. The kind of knowing that comes without explanation. The kind of peace that doesn't ask questions. Because real love doesn't have to convince you. It reminds you. This meeting will not begin with fireworks, it will begin with a silence so gentle, it feels like home. There will be no performance, no pretending. Their presence will be familiar because your spirits have met before in dreams you forgot and in prayers you never told anyone about. This person won't just feel right. They will feel like the reason why all the wrong ones never worked. You'll feel it in your chest, not as pressure, but as a release. Not as butterflies, but as breathing. Finally. Freely. Fully. God designed this connection long before you knew what love even meant. While you were trying to find yourself, heaven was weaving someone who could meet you there, not to fix you, but to see you. And not just the best parts of you, the undone parts too. The scared places. The silent wounds. The hidden griefs you learned to carry alone. And when they look at you, they won't flinch. They won't run. Because what you fear will scare them, is the very place they've been prepared to love you in. This isn't going to feel like a movie. It's going to feel like a moment you've waited your whole life to finally step into. You might second guess it. Your mind might ask, is this real? But your soul will answer with stillness. Because your soul has seen this moment in dreams, in glimpses, in sacred hints hidden in songs and conversations. It will be a confirmation without words. A whisper without sound. A promise being fulfilled without noise. Because God doesn't always shout. Sometimes He sends people who simply carry the answer. Archangel Michael watches this alignment with reverence. His hands are not raised in warfare now, they're open in celebration. Because he's seen the battles you've fought to protect your heart. He's heard the cries you never shared with anyone. And now, he watches the promise approach. Not in chariots, but in presence. Heaven is not late, beloved. It was waiting for you to come back to yourself, so you could receive someone who sees you clearly. This is not the kind of love that asks for attention. This is the kind of love that gives you permission. Permission to speak without shrinking. Permission to rest without apologizing. Permission to be soft without fear of being abandoned. Because this person doesn't come to take. They come to build. And the most beautiful thing is this: they're not perfect either. They've walked through fire. They've loved wrong people. They've doubted themselves. But they've kept their spirit open. They didn't shut down. They didn't let the past harden them. They believed, even when it hurt. And that's why heaven is honoring both of you. Because you didn't quit on love, even when love looked like silence. Saturday is not just a day. It is a doorway. A divine hour already surrounded by angels, already blessed by heaven's breath. And when the moment comes, in the room, in the smile, in the stillness, you'll feel something inside you say, "This is it." Don't run this time. Don't doubt this time. Don't hold back. Because this is not just a meeting. This is a remembering. And remembering is more sacred than discovery. This meeting was never just about romance. It was about alignment. Because when God prepares two hearts for each other, He is not only preparing love, He is preparing a mission. You are not meeting someone to just hold hands through life. You are meeting someone who will hold your calling with you, protect your sacredness, remind you of who you are when the world tries to erase your fire. You are not being joined because you are lonely. You are being joined because your assignments are entwined. Heaven does not pair based on feelings. Heaven pairs based on frequency. And your frequencies, though they've been growing apart, in different cities, different storms, different lessons, have now risen to the same spiritual pitch. That's why this moment had to wait. Because if you had met too soon, your wounds would have spoken louder than your truth. Your fear would have blocked the flow. But now your soul is strong enough to see and receive. And so is theirs. Your soulmate has been carrying a flame too, a light that looked dim to others but never went out. They've spoken to God about you without knowing your name. They've prepared rooms in their heart where only you could enter. They've fought battles just to stay open, just to not harden, just to be ready. And now, their waiting becomes your reward. And your healing becomes their home. And your combined yes becomes heaven's explosion. This connection won't just heal you. It will awaken others. Your presence together will make people believe in real again. Your partnership will radiate safety and clarity. When you speak, others will hear truth. When you walk together, others will feel heaven. Because love like this doesn't just comfort, it commands light into the room. And that is the purpose. That is why Saturday is more than just a calendar date. It is a portal, a moment where the natural and supernatural intertwine, where heaven will look down and say, finally, they've arrived. And once that connection begins, you'll feel your vision sharpen. Suddenly you'll understand ideas you couldn't grasp before. Paths will open without explanation. Provision will appear. Not because the person is the source, but because the union was heaven's signal. Archangel Michael will no longer just guard your path, he will now stand beside your union. Two people, two flames, now merged, walking with a fire no darkness can quench. You will notice that what once overwhelmed you now feels light. Why? Because you're no longer walking alone. And neither are they. This connection is a multiplication, not a distraction. It doesn't take away from who you are, it reveals who you were always meant to be. You'll wake up different. Not because of how they look. Not because of the compliments. But because your soul has finally been heard. Your fears will soften. Your laughter will rise easier. And your purpose will begin to breathe. What once felt heavy now feels holy. What once made you anxious now makes you anchored. This is not a fairy tale. This is a divine partnership. God is not sending you someone to complete you, He is sending you someone who can carry the weight of glory beside you. You both will carry different parts of the same blueprint. You both will protect each other's light. You both will restore what was stolen by past heartbreaks. And together, you'll become a safe place for others. You won't need titles. You won't need to prove it. Because when heaven writes the story, even silence becomes confirmation. Let Saturday come. Let the location be found. Let the moment be gentle, but eternal. Because this is not just a meeting. This is the moment when two stars return to their sky. And when you look in their eyes, you won't see a stranger. You'll see a reminder of every answered prayer. Of every "not yet" that finally became a yes. When you are finally standing in front of someone whose soul was made to sit beside yours, the world doesn't become louder, it becomes quieter. There's no need to impress. No need to calculate your next sentence. You don't reach for validation, you simply rest in recognition. It's not just love. It's a kind of home your body has never entered but your spirit has remembered. The chaos you carried like second skin begins to loosen. Your breath changes. Your heartbeat stops trying to explain itself. You are not just seen, you are known. They don't fix you. They don't save you. But somehow, in their presence, you start healing from things you didn't know still hurt. They look at you with eyes that have never studied you, and still, they read you like scripture. Slowly. Reverently. Without trying to rewrite you. This isn't infatuation. This is peace. The rare kind. The sacred kind. The kind that doesn't dance for attention but simply says, "You can exhale now." And you do, in ways you haven't in years. All your walls, built from years of betrayal, begin to soften. Not because you were forced, but because, for once, no one is trying to climb them. They're sitting beside them patiently, whispering, "We don't have to rush. I'm not here to escape. I'm here to stay." And something in you believes it. Not because you've become naive, but because your soul recognizes the sound of truth. There's no performance here. Only presence. And it's enough. You could sit in silence for hours with them and still feel full. You could talk about nothing and still feel understood. There's a rhythm between you that has no script. A softness that has no demand. A closeness that doesn't suffocate. Because real connection doesn't consume, it covers. Not like a storm, but like a blanket. Gentle. Warm. Sure. Archangel Michael stands behind this moment with eyes of fire and heart of light. Because he's not just protecting this union, he's celebrating it. He's watched your journey. He's seen the tears that never had witnesses. He stood beside you when loneliness tried to lie to you. And now he watches heaven answer you, not with noise, but with nearness. Because sometimes, the loudest miracle is simply meeting someone who makes you feel safe to be still. This stillness is not emptiness. It is completion. It's the ending of striving. The death of pretense. The healing of abandonment. The homecoming of your own voice. You're not shrinking anymore. You're not holding back. You're not adjusting yourself to be loved. You're simply existing, and it's enough. And they feel the same. They're not watching you to judge you. They're watching you to understand. Not to fix your cracks, but to trace them like art, because your brokenness is not a flaw to them, it's familiar. They've known suffering too. And that's what makes their love so soft. So sacred. So slow. They know the value of what doesn't rush. They've waited their whole life to be held this gently. In this space, with this person, your laughter will sound different. Your body will loosen. Your energy will stop performing. And even your silence will begin to feel sacred. Because real connection doesn't entertain your mask, it invites your real self to rise. And that's exactly what begins happening. Piece by piece, the real you wakes up. Not the version the world asked you to become, but the one that heaven always knew was still breathing underneath. And maybe you won't have words for it. Maybe you'll just look at them and smile and say nothing. But inside, you'll know, this peace is not ordinary. This peace is not fake. This peace is not temporary. This peace is a confirmation. And when God confirms something, He doesn't use thunder. He uses stillness. He uses soul. He uses that exact moment when you realize, you don't have to run anymore. This love was never meant to be kept in a corner. This connection is not a secret the stars wished to hide. It was designed to echo across timelines, to ripple into the lives of others without even speaking a word. When heaven ordains a union like this, it's not just to comfort your heart, it's to awaken something in others. Your love, your stillness, your story, your scars, all of it becomes evidence that divine alignment still happens. That timing is real. That love can still come without pain, without performance, without loss of self. Your connection is a frequency that others will feel before they understand. You'll walk into rooms and people won't know why, but the atmosphere will shift. It's not because of charisma. It's not because of attention. It's because when two souls meet under God's alignment, light travels with them. And light has a language deeper than words. Some will feel peace near you for the first time in years. Others will cry without knowing why. Some will look at the way you both treat each other and feel convicted, not with shame, but with a longing to rise to that same level of sacred honesty. This was the plan all along. That two people, broken but not bitter, tired but still open, would find each other not at the beginning, but at the appointed hour, and from that hour on, the world around them would start to heal. You will notice how others begin to believe again. Not just in love, but in goodness, in slowness, in kindness, in a God who still keeps quiet promises. Your story won't be a fairy tale, it'll be a mirror. A mirror to show others what happens when you don't settle. When you don't shut down. When you trust God's no's as much as you trust His yes. The pain you survived wasn't pointless. The waiting you endured wasn't wasted. Because now, every part of it becomes evidence for someone else's healing. Archangel Michael has not only guarded your hearts, he's been guiding you like a compass toward each other for years. Through decisions you didn't understand. Through disappointments you thought were endings. Through doors that closed, not because you were wrong, but because God was protecting the timing. And now, the assignment begins. Not to preach. Not to perform. But to live in such a way that others feel heaven simply by watching how you love. You both will become a safe place, not just for each other, but for many. Some will find their calling because of your words. Others will find their strength because of your resilience. And a few, a sacred few, will find their soulmate too, because your story gave them permission to believe again. And that is the ripple of heaven. When one alignment touches another. When one divine encounter opens the gate for 10 more. This is not pressure. This is purpose. You were never asked to be perfect, only to be present. To show up with your full heart. To walk beside them, not ahead, not behind. And to say, we're not here to prove anything. We're just here to be faithful. Faithful to the love God wrote before time. Faithful to the healing it brings. Faithful to the people who will watch and silently whisper, if it happened for them, maybe it can happen for me too. This kind of love doesn't just hold hands. It holds hope. It breathes healing. It breaks cycles. It rewrites stories. And it sends light into rooms where people had stopped believing in miracles. When two souls finally reunite under God's timing, something shifts, not just outside, but inside. You begin to walk differently. You begin to breathe with a deeper rhythm. The world doesn't change, but the way you carry it does. You're no longer carrying life alone. And it's not just about having someone beside you, it's about knowing, deep within, that someone finally understands the weight you never had words for. This love becomes a new world, not built in noise, but in stillness, in safety, in soft sacred exchanges that heal what even time could not. You don't have to explain your silence. You don't have to decorate your pain. They see the pauses between your words and they listen to the things you didn't say. They notice the way your eyes look away when you're remembering something hard. They reach across the table, not to interrupt, but to hold space. You realize you're not being studied, you're being seen. And for the first time in years, your soul starts to rest. Not because life became easier, but because your heart finally stopped defending itself. This love doesn't demand. It doesn't rush. It doesn't pressure you to perform. It invites you to arrive, fully, slowly, without edits. It shows you that the version of you the world tried to label too much, too quiet, too sensitive, too complicated, was actually exactly the version heaven was preparing someone to cherish. The moment you sit beside them and don't feel the need to hide, is the moment you realize, this is what love was always meant to feel like. Your body remembers this peace. It's unfamiliar, but it's not foreign. Because before the world told you to shrink, before heartbreak taught you to guard, before time taught you to pretend, there was a version of you that believed in connection like this. And now that version begins to return. Piece by piece. Memory by memory. Breath by sacred breath. You don't feel triggered anymore by kindness. You don't mistrust every moment of softness.